Once upon a time, in the shadowy vastness of Raven Hollow, Simbi lived. Despite the eerie atmosphere of the village, Simbi's wealth shone like a beacon. Her vast mansion, draped in opulent velvet and adorned with glittering jewels, stood in stark contrast to the misty gloom outside. Her wealth was a legacy from her father, a revered figure who, before disappearing under mysterious circumstances said to involve the stars, was beloved for his generosity. Unlike him, Simbi harbored a cold indifference to those less fortunate, her heart seemingly as hard as the diamonds she favored. Greetings to all. Welcome to our video. I hope you will enjoy watching our stories. To support us, we would be very happy if you subscribe to the channel and like this video and write in the comments where you watch very nice video. Simbi, who had always rejected the idea of marriage, sought a mate who would surpass her in wealth and virtue, an almost impossible task in Raven Hollow. Her mother's pleas for her to settle down were in vain. Simbi was adamant that only a man of exceptional stature could claim her hand. So she waited, surrounded by her luxuries, a lonely queen in her gilded cage. One stormy night she met Maisie, a man from the neighboring village of Duskfall, who matched her wealth and shared her lineage of prosperity. Their marriage began like a fairy tale, with lavish feasts and laughter filling their grand home. But the darkness of Raven Hollow soon crept into their lives. Simbi's desire for control overcame them, leading to violent clashes. Maisie's brief absence was enough for Simbi to defy his wishes and escape the manor to revel with friends. Upon his return to a desolate home, the ensuing confrontation shattered their union, and Simbi returned to her solitary existence. Her next marriage to Io, a man of modest means but immense kindness, promised a new beginning. But Simbi could not shake her need to dominate, nor could she overlook Ao's financial shortcomings as the costs of her lavish lifestyle mounted. The inevitable end of her marriage left her once again alone, rich but unfulfilled. Simbi's third attempt at companionship was with Kofi, who seemed like a dream come true. He was rich, kind, and unmarried. However, Simbi's inability to return respect and kindness gradually alienated Kofi and his family, leading to another lonely return to Raven Hollow. In a cruel twist of fate, a devastating flood ravaged Raven Hollow, sweeping away their fortunes overnight. Forced to abandon her manor for a humble abode, Simbi faced a harsh new reality. This adversity stripped away her former superficiality, and she began to connect with her community, discovering the joy of simplicity and kindness. Simbi's transformation was profound. She learned that true contentment doesn't come from wealth or control, but from genuine connection and self-growth. When she met Gu, a man who had endured his own trials, she finally understood love. They married, not in the opulence she once knew, but under the canopy of a humbler, happier life. As she sat outside her modest home, watching the stars that once took her father away, Simbi realized that the journey she had been on was not about finding the perfect husband, but about becoming a better person. The true essence of marriage, she learned, was not in perfection, but in growing and compromising together. In the tranquility of Raven Hollow, as Simbi sat beside Gu under the starry sky, she contemplated the profound changes in her life. No longer surrounded by opulence, but by the simple joys of a shared existence, she recognized the stark contrast between their past and present. Her home, though humble, was a sanctuary of love and mutual respect. The villagers, once distant because of Simbi's former aloofness, now greeted her warmly. Her transformation had mended old bridges and forged new friendships. Together, she and Gu cultivated a garden that not only fed them, but also beautified the once dark surroundings of their home. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Gu shared his dreams of expanding their little haven. perhaps adding a few more rooms or even helping to rebuild parts of the village still scarred by the flood. Simbi listened intently, her heart swelling with pride and love for the man who had seen her through her darkest times. Together, they planned projects that would benefit not only themselves, but their neighbors as well. Months turned to seasons, and their home became a beacon of hope and a testament to the resilience of Raven Hollow. Her doors were always open, offering shelter during storms or a hot meal to those in need. Once revered for her wealth, Simbi now earned respect for her generosity and spirit. But life, as it tends to do, brought new challenges. The village, still recovering from the flood, faced a harsh winter that threatened crops and livestock. Simbi and Gu rallied the villagers, organizing meetings to share resources and strategies for survival. Simbi's leadership skills, once used to assert dominance, now served to unite and strengthen her community. In the midst of these trials, Gu's health began to fail. Years of hard work had taken their toll, and it became clear that Simbi might soon face a future without her beloved. She cared for him with a tender devotion, cherishing every moment they still shared. Her fear of losing Gu was palpable, but it was tempered by the strength she had cultivated from her past adversities. As Gu's life faded gently like the setting sun, he left Simbi with words that would forever echo in her heart. Love isn't just about the joyous days, it's about carrying each other through the darkest nights. Widowed, but strengthened by the love and lessons of her marriages, Simbi continued to lead her community with compassion. Her story, once a tale of a woman seeking perfection in others, became a legend of a woman who discovered the true essence of strength and love within herself. Years later, an old Simbi could often be seen under the same stars where she once pondered her fate. Now she spoke to young couples, imparting wisdom about the true foundations of a happy life, not the pursuit of perfection, but the cultivation of understanding, respect, and shared struggle. As the years passed, Simbi grew old, her hair silvered like the twilight mist of Raven Hollow. Her life, once defined by a relentless pursuit of more, had become a testament to the power of simplicity and genuine connection. Now, as the elder of the village, her days were filled with the laughter of children and the respect of those she had once turned away. On a crisp fall evening, the village gathered to celebrate the annual Harvest Moon Festival, an event that marked the changing seasons and the community's resilience. Simbi, honored as the guest of the year, watched from her usual spot near the large oak tree that had stood as a silent witness throughout her journey. As she sat, wrapped in a hand-woven shawl, the villagers performed dances and songs that echoed throughout the valley. The firelight danced in her eyes, reflecting the joy and warmth around her. Throughout the evening, young couples approached her for advice and blessings. With a gentle smile, Simbi imparted the wisdom that only a well-lived life can offer. She spoke of love not as a fairy tale, but as a garden that requires patience, care, and sometimes the courage to prune back the withered parts to allow for new growth. With a contented sigh, Simbi turned back to her home, feeling the weight of her years, but also the lightness of her spirit. As she walked, she composed a final note to her fellow villagers, intending to leave it on her table for them to find. To all my beloved friends and family of Raven Hollow, cherish each other as your greatest treasure. Remember that wealth is not measured in gold, but in the moments you share and the support you give one another. I have lived many lives in one, each chapter teaching me more about the heart's ability to adapt, to forgive, and to love again. As I now wait for the stars to call me home, as they once did my father, know that I carry each of you in my heart.